you think on the flip side of things, those guys that do get in those positions, I think it's possible for them to put themselves on a pedestal, and what kind of the negative effects of being in a leadership role and putting yourself on a pedestal is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens, right? And whether it's ego or so, two reasons they somebody in a position of authority will say will put them on a pedestal. I think is one could be ego, right? They think they're better than everybody else, or they're more important because they got there, which is certainly not the case. Or two, it's out of a lack of self-esteem, right? They overcompensate for that. They think it's, I don't know if you're familiar with imposter syndrome, right? But we all experience imposter syndrome when we I experience it as a wrestling coach, right? As first year college wrestling coach. It's like, man, sometimes you think, oh man, do I belong here? Right. But somebody believed I belong there. And if I let that imposter syndrome overtake me, I could see where somebody would overcompensate, right? They feel like they have to have all the answers. As leaders, we don't have to have all the answers. We just have to know how to get them, right? It's okay. One thing that I think young leaders and new leaders, not necessarily young at age, but new leaders, mistake they make is they feel like they have to have all the answers, right? And they have to have it all together, and you don't, right? You have to be able to get the answers, right? But it's okay as a leader to say, you know what, I don't know. But it's not okay to follow up and find out and get the answer. So the answer, if you don't know something, hey, I don't know, but I'm going to find out for you and get back to you. And then the key thing is to keep your integrity. You got to follow through and get back to the person. But I think, sometimes you get in a position and you put yourself on this pedestal because you think you have to almost, right? You have to be better. You have to be, have it all together. And it's just not true. And just none of us really do. And you'll gain more respect if you show a little transparency that you don't have all the answers and you don't know everything. The guys underneath you will respect you even more.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned this past year, working a lot with the platoon commanders, asking a lot of questions that may not be my expertise, but feeling like I owe them an answer. Where, in the beginning of the year, it's like, trying to piece together an answer instead of, hey, sir, let me refer to you to the subject matter expert, or, hey, sir, let me go talk to him and I'll come back to you and give you an answer. That way, because there's times when, sir asks you a question and you're trying to give him your best answer, but the answer is completely off because you really had no idea what you were talking about, and you just make yourself kind of, your credibility is in question at that point.
Sure. They know, right? They know when you're making it up. They know when you're full of it, right? So it's okay to not know all the answers, right? Like the example I always use in law enforcement is I didn't know every criminal code in the book, right? But I knew where to find them, right? I knew where to get the answer. So it's a similar thing. You don't have to know the answer; you just have to know where to get it and be able to get it.
Yeah, I had something happen to me today, which I thought I knew the answer to. So in the Marine Corps, it's kind of like a big deal of knowing where everybody's at and having, physical numbers of everybody. And so I'd been doing that all year. So we have like this lounge that we can meet in to talk to the sergeant major of the barracks. So I get our numbers. 35 was what I was understanding the numbers were. And then Sergeant Major walked in the room and he asked us what counts on deck were. So I confidently told him 35, thinking like, he's going to be impressed. And then he did he called it verifying. So we all counted off individually, and there ended up being only 28 people in the room. So I felt like I embarrassed myself a little bit, but we came up with a better solution going forward. So hopefully that won't happen again.